There once was a man named Gold Roger who was king of the pirates. He had fame, power, and wealth beyond your wildest dreams. Before they hung him from the gallows, these were the final words he said.
Our perspective is yours for the taking, but you'll have to join us first. We left everything we debated at the Yonkō Table.
Ever since, pirates from all over the world set sail for the Grand Line, searching for the Yonkō Table, the table that will make their dreams come true. Yo, everyone. The Yonkō Table has set sail yet again on the second episode of the hit TV series on Paramount Plus, Halo. If you guys didn't hear us last week, we were praising certain aspects of the first episode of Halo and raising some questionable concerns on other parts. But overall, we were optimistic about the future of the Halo TV series. We wanted them to go into detail on certain aspects of the lore. And I mean, it left an overall pretty decent taste in our mouths. And we're now blessed with the second episode of the Halo TV series. And with me to deep dive this is fellow Supernova Toasty. Toasty, are you for this episode? I can see the excitement in your eyes.
This episode was practically the calm before the storm. Last week it was all calm. We're like, okay, this hope the weather's gonna clear up, everything will be fine. No, that was a category 6 hurricane. So yeah, nothing. Like, this episode was utter garbage. Let's just get started. We need to break this down, like one by one.
Oh my God. So you remember last week how we had some scoops on how early press reviews got access to the second episode? Yeah. And they were saying, oh my God, the second episode though is really bad. But most people only saw the first one and they were kind of optimistic. Yeah. I went in with an open mind. I'm like, you know what? Maybe some people are looking for the wrong things in this series and maybe that's why they thought it was bad. But I mean, good Lord, this episode, okay, right? So what happens? It picks up right where the last episode left off, right?
Yeah, him on the ship with the girl and they going through a mysterious place. Honestly, I cannot tell you the name just because the first thing I saw when I watched the episode was the Master Chief's face, and I don't know about you, his face aggravates me. I'm not sure if it's because we associate him with porn stars from Orange is the New Black or because I don't think he makes a good Master Chief. He just aggravates me. That's it. And to me, like, him going to that planet and meeting with the girl, I'm like, why is your mask still on? Why is your armor off? Like, why is your mask still off? Like, why is your armor off? It was constant question. I'm like, I don't think we ever seen Master Chief with his armor or helmet that much in any other content before. It's as if these producers play the multiplayer of Halo and they say, you know what? Let's just create a video game about this, but let's not go into the lore. Let's not do anything else. Let's not even bother. And the ending confirmed that to me.
How do you call it? I need to double check this on who exactly said this, but one of the showrunners of the games, one of the showrunners of the show came out and said they never played the games before.
It shows.
Never played. And I'm like, dude, you've got to be kidding me. Like,
this is Avatar: The Last Airbender level of clownery. This is Dragon
Ball
the movie
that bad
level of clownery.
I don't know about that.
It is that bad, my man. Like, they broke almost every rule of the Halo series so far. This is a show for people that are fan of science fiction shooting lore. That is it. It's not a show made for Halo fans. Regardless of how it has good part, if you are a fan of the video game series, you go into this show thinking that, hey, it's gonna show a good representation or a good adaptation of the lore and game that I love and enjoy and grew up with for the last 20 years. No. You're dead wrong. This is not the place for that.
I mean, like, at the end of the day, Halo is an action first-person shooter, right? Yeah. We're in it for, they have the background of the lore that gets us invested and asking questions and wanting to know what happens next. But, the I don't know I don't even know what the term is, but I guess like the narrative piece that keeps that pushing along is the gameplay, right? And the gameplay is action. The shooting, right?
Which we did not get a single bullet fired this entire episode. Just let you know,
And
not a single bullet was fired.
Not a single
game.
Not a single bullet. And you know, that's not to say, you know, I need shooty bang bang in every like minute of a series like this, but I mean, if you're not gonna give me that, what you show me better be engaging. It better be good. I just wasn't invested in this because what happens? John, the Master Chief, he has his helmet off the entire time. It bothers me. Yeah. It's irksome. It's irksome
because part of the fun in the lore is that sometimes Master Chief is talking and you don't know how he feels about something.
Yes,
because he has a monotone voice. So sometimes there's a situation, and in the game it would zoom into his helmet, and you're wondering, is he angry? Is he sad?
You're trying to read him because like he probably doesn't even know what emotion he's experiencing because he's like a robot. But when you see his face, that takes away from it. Oh my god,
it does, and that was my issue. Like. Yeah, let's not lose track. Let's start from the beginning.
Right.
He was in the ship. I believe he got a flashback of when he was younger, which is fine. We had that in the games before.
Right.
And
not flashbacks to when he was younger in the games.
But did we not? We didn't have a flashback of him as a kid?
No, because he in the golden timeline, he remembers his time as a kid. But he just doesn't care about it. Like, you know, he's a soldier now, you know, fighting for the good fight. This one, they kind of changed it where he doesn't remember anything because, like, you know, I guess the hormones or the hormone, whatever they inject him with.
He remembers the last 10 years because it felt like before he was a Spartan when he was a teenager, which is the scene where he got the flashback. He was in a barrack. He woke up. He went to go see a friend that was wearing a type of like, it looked like a Spartan armor, but not fully completed in a way. I don't know about you, that black kid did not know how to act. I feel like he exaggerated too much. It's just me. Like, as son, I was like, my man, you got this, right? Let's go, brother. You're gonna do this. And I was like, oh my god, at least at this one, just give me Spartan Locke. He had better acting than this kid.
Actually, yeah, and Spartan Locke was very like stone cold, like serious. Exactly. Like he showed no expression.
Give me Spartan Locke over this guy. And low-key, I was hoping that it was Spartan Locke, even though it would have made no sense in terms of like story building because they train a different section. I was like, oh, that'll be a nice cameo, you know? Turn out it was just some random kid, and the kid wanted to run away. He asked Master Chief, hey, you're my friend, let's go with me. We're gonna run away from this. Master Chief obviously goes into military mode. No, I won't betray the UNSC. No, I'm giving you 5 minutes to run away.
And it's like that's not really Master Chief. Like not. It's
he
not.
He is a robot, but he's also compassionate, especially toward his friend.
Especially towards the friends. I mean, again, I think this is a new character. I don't think it's an old one. I could be wrong. It might be some, you know, backlog character in the extended
12 more
lore.
Days for that encyclopedia, my man. 12 more days.
12 more days. But yeah, I mean, I just wasn't a fan of like John even attempting to stop him. He ultimately didn't stop him, but in a way he kind of did because he gave him a 5-minute head start. Yeah. And he's still I mean, oh man, I don't know, man. And I get it. It's still young John, so it's like he's still growing, but at the same time, I think he's still the same way a little bit.
Yeah, and the guy made it seem like they were really, really close, as if they were best friends. To the point
because he kept telling him, John, come with me.
Yeah,
dude.
let's go. We need to run away. We need to stop this. I'm like, okay, like obviously this guy is not gonna. John is not gonna run away because at the beginning of the series he was still Master Chief, but the way he acted, I assume he would have done something like, "Don't worry, I have to stay behind, but I won't tell anybody. Just go." I would have expected that from Master Chief.
Apparently not.
I can't even think of a word I can say that won't get this podcast in trouble. And Ben, like, he was such a little, yeah, let's just go with that. Just put a blank word and choose your word. Like, it pissed me off. Like all
Right.
the characters, like
He was a snitch. He was a snitch.
he
like,
was a snitch. It felt out of place.
right. Oh, go ahead.
No, and it felt out of place because again, Master Chief is not above breaking the rules. He did that, obviously. I mean, in this series, he did it in the first episode by saving the girl, and he also did it in the game when he had to save Cortana. So the fact that this character was like the opposite of Master Chief, you know what? If that character was Locke, it would have made more sense. Spartan Locke. If it was Spartan Locke, where he's saying, I live by the rule, I breathe by the rule. I don't care if you're.
Oh, if it was Locke in Chief's position, saying,
in Chief, like if they have switched, that would have made more sense than Master Chief.
Yeah,
to me,
definitely, Chief was the wrong choice to have in a flashback like that, and I always hate these type of ways of storytelling where they introduce they show a flashback of you, the main character or whatever, interacting with someone you've never seen before, and they always do it in the beginning of the episode. And as soon as we saw that character, I'm like, we haven't seen that guy yet, and this flashback seems so out of place. He's probably gonna meet him later in the episode. I hate storytelling like that. It's very lazy because it's just like, oh, by the way, here's a flashback so you know who we're gonna talk about, so that you know that they have a past, and then 10 minutes later, oh, look, we met him now.
Which is what happened. Literally, they were flying. They stopped by an asteroid belt, or they were, I guess, how do you call it when you travel really fast?
Oh, I think it's hyperspace, I guess.
Hyperspeed, whatever the term is. They would do that. They came out of hyperspace in the middle of an asteroid belt. They dodged it because Master Chief is the GOAT. They go into a random, I guess, settlement, and boom, that guy that they needed just happened to be there, and he just happened to be the leader of that group of people that live somehow in a big enough place where it's not secluded, but still secluded. And the UNSC somehow still haven't found that guy, even though he's prominent in the area. He has a nice house.
Space is really big, man.
Come on, like, obviously they don't care at this point. This is a guy that quote unquote run away, and he's living the dream.
He is. I mean, Chief gets there, and they have this weird scene. I mean, this to me was cringe. I don't use that word a lot whenever I'm describing like a show or like a scene or whatever. To me, this was cringe where Chief and the girl Quan, they're walking, and everyone is pointing their gun at them saying, whoa, Spartan, UNSC bad, military bad. So but the cringe part was they got like a forklift to block their way. And then this guy up in the corner, he starts laughing maniacally like a villain. He's like,
Master Chief can like grab him by the throat and crush it.
I'm like, it's not like it's that too, but it's like, why are you laughing? Like, what is funny about this scenario? Like, I stabbed him. Yeah.
I'm obviously.
Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, I was so confused from that scene. I'm like, and then ooh, Master Chief strong, and he moves it to the side. Yeah. I'm like, that's the least impressive thing I've seen him do. The man has done so much more than moving a forklift out of the way. But it's like you said, he meets his buddy right then and there. And oh my God, he met his friend so that he can try and find out what that artifact does. And he gets introduced to this crazy dude in a jail cell, Reth, I think. Reth.
That was another cringe.
I hated this scene. Okay. It was. Go ahead.
No, okay. For me, it's a pet peeve of mine. I found that no show can ever show a proper psychopath or a sociopath or a crazy, mentally unstable person. They always do the same thing. The eyes are wide open. The teeth are always out as if they're a goddamn gorilla about to warn you away. And again, always the yellow teeth. And they always have that crazy, like, I'm like, come on.
Like they have rabies or something.
Yeah, they have rabies. And they always do that. And I found that every show that has done that is always lazy. But it's as if they don't understand what mental instability is. And they just do something saying, oh, act like a crazy kid would act. That's what they did. Like, come on. And again, obviously, as a stereotype, even though the character is crazy, the minute you grab him by the throat and you hit him against the wall, the craziness goes away and he starts speaking clearly. Oh yes, dude, I'm sorry, I'm afraid.
As if
now.
violence fixes the scenario.
Yes.
Like, yeah,
Or
as long as you
as if-
shake them hard enough, they'll speak clearly.
Or as if he's an unstable kid that you just need to give a couple ass whooping and he's gonna straighten up and say, oh, he's actually serious right now. Let me just tell him what's going on instead of messing with him. It aggravated me, that entire scene. Actually, from the moment he got into that,
It lasted way too long.
Yeah,
the
minute he started talking to the his friend 066, I think that was his code name or the number. I know it's
the friend, the Spartan.
Yeah, the black friend. Yeah,
okay,
the Spartan,
okay.
the one that I don't know. Wait, I'm just gonna come 66.
Soren.
Soren. The minute he started talking to Soren until he left, I was bored. I was extremely bored. It was endless talking, endless dialogue. Soren was complaining that Master Chief was too serious, even though it's not his fault, because he was literally programmed to be like this. And honestly, overall, it was cringe, dude. I hated the interaction. I hated everything about that scene. And then that's not even the end of it, because we go to I Charity, where things get even worse. But
you want to talk about High Charity?
I mean, before we do that,
go ahead.
The only thing I can think of that happened in that scene was he talked to the friend, kid, and he talked to the wife. But apart from that, that was it. I didn't really notice anything too crazy. They didn't really mention anything at all.
They kind of just talked about their past and reminisced a little bit. They're like, I mean, I know what they were trying to do with an episode like this. They wanted to show like, okay, we're not just gonna do a retelling of the games with, you know, shooty battles one after the other. That's what we like, but they wanted to world build, right? They wanted to make this, what, you know, in between battles, to make you care about what they're fighting for. They want to show you like how certain towns are like, certain outposts, or, you know, how this segment of society is like. And, you know, I get it, but you have to make me care at the same time. It's not just like showing that to me. It's automatically gonna be like, oh wow, I'm invested because you're showing me all these characters. You have to make it engaging. I was not invested in any conversation that Chief was having with this guy. Maybe part of it was because he didn't have the mask on. Maybe if he had the mask on, I would have been a little bit more invested, because now I'm trying to read his face. Like, how is he feeling with every word that he's telling this guy?
Exactly. Because again, if that was the game and a friend had spoken to him like that, it would have just zoomed it into his mask. And now you're wondering, oh snap, is he sad? Is he angry? That's sort of the mystery that makes Halo so good. You don't ever really know how Master Chief really feels until the specific moment where sometime he has a breakdown and you notice, oh snap, he was actually hurt.
Like you listen, you can sometimes hear it in his voice. Like it cracks a little bit, or you hear it. You hear it. Oh god.
And that's what's so good about it. And you see it in the games. Like I know in the beginning of the first game, when he's flying through space, he pushes a Covenant and throws them aside like they were a hot piece of garbage. But when he flew by that body of a UNSC, just his movement of him slowly pushing the body out of the way as if the person was a baby, and it zoomed in on his mask, you don't know, or you cannot see that he was sad, but you can see by his action that he is sad.
Oh, you mean in Halo Infinite?
Yeah, Halo Infinite at the beginning of it when he was flying. It's one of those slight things. If you go back and watch,
I remember seeing that scene. I love that scene. I love that scene.
It was like a random pilot, and he slowly pushed the body. It's a dead body, but he still slowly pushes it out of the way, as if he still has respect, as if he's angry, sad that he's the only one alive and everyone else is dead. It's kind of difficult to do that when you can see all the expression in his face, and they're not even that good.
Yeah, and so now it's like, oh, he's stoic and this like monotone, but like you see his voice. I mean, you see his face. So now it's like there's no investment anymore. Now you know, oh, he's just monotone. He's just talking like this. Yes, and the mission.
I also hate the fact that they make it seem that Master Chief is the chosen one. I hate the fact that you keep having vision about the ring, and I don't know.
Did he have visions about the ring? I thought he had a vision about his past.
He had a vision about his past, but the guy said, again, I need to go back and rewatch, but the crazy guy said that he saw the ring, and he asked him, what does that mean? And he said, he means the end of it all.
Okay.
Yeah. And again, we saw the ring again, because when we do go to High Charity, which is the next scene anyway, the Covenant soldier he did the circle of the ring because he was in
right,
the cave.
Right. I remember that.
He was in the cave when Master Chief first saw it, so it's implied that again,
okay,
they
right,
did see the ring. But yeah, let's move on
Right.
to
The
whatever.
Covenant.
I mean, yeah.
Again, it's a minor nitpick. It doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. I brought it up last week, but the High Prophets, Mercy, Truth, and Regret, they got the chairs right. Where's the headpieces, my man? Where's the headpieces? Like, I don't know, man. That to me sells it that they are the High Prophets, because even in the lore, I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna get into it. It's not that big a deal. It's just like, it kind of irked me, but whatever, right? So we get this girl character again, where that elite, basically, like you just said, describes, oh yeah, I saw a Halo ring from that artifact that guy touched, that Spartan. And this girl character is like, oh my God, send me out there to retrieve it or whatever.
Yeah. And
I'm just like, I don't understand. Like, she doesn't have any combat prowess or anything really to, if the prophets, because, okay, Mercy's making it seem like she's very valuable, right?
I can tell you why. I figured it out. And as I was watching, I was like, this is the connection they're trying to make. In the series, we know that the humans are the only one that can activate the ring. They probably told her that she's connected to their great scheme of religion. So in a way, she is equal to the three, to Mercy, True, and
right. Yeah.
She's equal to them.
She's up there.
So even though she's not a military leader, she is still upper class, which is why she wants to go to the ring, because she knows it's related to her.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I didn't mean like in terms of like, you know, her status, like who is she to say that she wants to go? I just mean they know a Spartan has this thing in his hands and it's in the military, and they're gonna send essentially a child. Like, how are you gonna get it? How are you gonna get it back? She's like, oh yeah, you know, I can blend in and stuff. I'm like, okay, and
I did. Oh my God, she's gonna group up with them. She's gonna pretend to be a friend, and she's gonna end up trying to betray them. But then she's gonna have a change of mind at the end of the season, and then stay with them.
They already teased it in the first episode. Like, she has a soft spot. She has there was a scene where she was getting undressed, and they really wanted to focus on her being naked. I was like, okay.
It felt out of place.
Felt out of place. It did show a scar on her back. And I'm like, okay, I'm guessing that'll tie into something.
It's probably when she was shot or hit when she was a kid, kidnapped by the Covenant. That's probably what it is. Again, nothing special. This is not something that needed to last the 2 minutes or so that it lasted.
Yeah, it was just a really long scene. I was like,
it was.
What is this?
It was out of place.
Right,
that's the issue. It was just out of place. I feel like they just threw it in there and say, oh, by the way, this is almost like HBO. Let's throw some nudity for Walmart Khaleesi. And again, look at her. She has a scar too.
Oh, it felt like a Khaleesi almost. Yeah.
Yes,
because there was no blood or gore or anything in this episode.
Yes. There we go.
Wow.
She's Walmart Khaleesi, my dude.
Well, great value Khaleesi.
Exactly. Like, that's all it is. And like, obviously, it's still aggravating that she has such a leading role, to the point where she can talk back to the Covenant leaders like this. It may seem that, again, she's equal to them. So weird, but whatever.
The only other thing that kind of brought this episode down is the military parts of it, where
actually I would say there's something we haven't spoken about before we talk about the military. The girl, her planet Midgard, it's been taken over by some random
Madrigal, not Midgard.
Midgard. Oh, stop.
Not Midgard. Good God.
But you know what? Midgard. I've quoted right now. It's Midgard.
Yes.
Is it Midgard from like what is Midgard from?
That's from Norse mythology.
That's right. You know what? I have God of War on my mind. There we go. Madrigal. That's why I need the book. Whatever. That place has been taken over by some random guy that used to rival the which is weird because it may seem that her settlement that got slaughtered was the only settlement around the town. Around the planet. But then it went to that place where the guy was, and it made it seem like it was a bigger city than the city she was in at the beginning.
I mean, they did allude to it. Again, I will need to rewatch the first episode, but you did see this guy on like a news broadcast in the very, very beginning. You see everyone like eating or playing games in that bar area. And I remember there was like a broadcast of like that character, that evil guy. I think his name was Varner. It starts with a V.
The generic villain.
The generic villain. And it's like, what is this? Because this is on planet Midgard. And it's like, I mean, is this going to extend anywhere else? Are we going back to Midgard at some point? Why are you showing me an insurrectionist character when it's like, okay, I thought that was just for the beginning. We're now into bigger and more important things with like the Covenant, Halo rings, potentially the Flood. Why are we still worried about Midgard and this guy going psycho on Midgard? Unless we're going to go back to Midgard, possibly at some point. I don't know.
They found the, I guess the key to the ring on that planet. So there's probably more stuff down there. They didn't fully investigate the ruins.
Okay, right.
So they're definitely going back to the ruins. And again, that's still a part going again. It's a little bit all over the place with this episode because it may seem that planet was secluded, but now it make it seem that even though that planet was secluded, it made it seem that how do you call it? They were unaffected by the war for the last 10 plus years.
Oh yeah, because they didn't know who the Covenant was either.
Yes.
Or they knew about them, but they thought it was UNSC propaganda. They never encountered them.
They didn't know about them. But today we met the wife of Soren, who said that she was from a similar outer colony that was destroyed by the Covenant. And she knew about the Covenant. So I'm wondering where this planet is, how important it is, because again, that might be why. I mean, I don't know why the Covenant would not go there, but honestly, I don't know, man. I'm trying to connect the pieces of the puzzle. It makes no sense because this planet was secluded in the middle of nowhere. It seemed that it was just a bunch of peasants.
It's the outer colonies.
It seemed like it's a bunch of peasants running to run themselves. Then at the beginning of the show, it may seem that they're not that important to the UNSC. They didn't know about anything going on around the place, including the 10+ year war that the UNSC was fighting against the Covenant. But now they're the most important planet, or potentially the most important planet in the lore, because that's how we found the key to find the Halo ring.
Right.
And now they're making it seem that there's some guy that's trying to take over that planet that is now one of the most important places in the mythos, which means we are gonna go back there. Which means Master Chief, quote unquote, is gonna have to liberate those people so that Quan Ha can become the new leader of the planet.
Quan Ha, the teenager, the Kazekage of the
because she kept looking at the news report, and I'm like, dude, like this show, like it seems like, and again, if those listening, if it makes no sense what we're saying, that's how it was explained to us in the show. The things are being going left and right, and you're trying to wonder, dude, what the hell is going on? One minute this goes from a backwater, the next minute it's an important place. Now they have a military dictatorship in the place, like, and somehow they didn't know about the most important war for the last 10+ years. Like, for God's sake, man.
Yeah, that's a problem. I mean, they never encountered the Covenant, but they knew about them, but they didn't want to believe. They thought it was UNSC propaganda. They're like, oh, UNSC talking out their ass. Yeah, right. They never met them.
Boogeyman, quote unquote. And if the Covenant had been to that planet before, they would have wiped them out.
Oh yeah, easily. I mean, again, I don't know what the budget is, but we're 2 episodes in. The Covenant only seems to be elites and prophets so far. No grunts.
To be fair,
no jackals, no hunters. There was no battle scene in this episode.
There was no battle scene. There was no battle scene. And that one meeting they had, it was just a meeting to get information from the guy from the last episode.
I don't know, man. I bet there are no grunts I bet there are no
royal
grunts
guards.
or jackals. I'm assuming that's the royal chamber of the high prophets. And I mean, Toasty, you know about history, or at least, medieval times. Weren't there like royal, sentinels?
Not sentinels, but every king or queen had a guy that had to protect them.
A royal guard around,
guard.
You don't know if the person coming in is going to assassinate them or whatever.
Quote unquote, the hand of the king, because that guy, if the prophets had looked at him and say, "You are banished, we're gonna kill you," he could have easily jumped and then ripped each of their throat out and then walk out.
No defenses whatsoever.
Yes.
Budget. It's budget because what's easier? Make an empty room that's white with just 3 CGI prophets and a CGI elite, or filling that room with believable, elite guards, and maybe like a walkway to show where you have to walk to, maybe it's like a flight of those intimidating stairs up to the throne, I guess, the typical monarch throne room type of stuff.
And if that was the game, it was going to be like a stadium. The prophet were going to be sitting in the middle, and then the side was going to be full of the Covenant soldiers and the population screaming at that guy for running away from battle. And once he told
brand
them
him the arbiter.
Yes, break it, dude.
break him.
There we go. They were going to ask to break this poor bastard down.
My God. I mean, the guy seems like in the first episode, they singled him out as the elite that saw the hologram, and then they singled him out again in this episode as the elite that's reporting it to the prophets. And I keep wanting to think, is that going to be the arbiter? But
it has to be.
But at the same time, they're not letting him really do talk or a dialogue, engage with anything. He just, for God's sake, they asked him, "What did you see?" And like a child, instead of just saying what he saw, he's like,
honestly, I thought that was weird, because we know the Covenant can speak. They have a language.
Get out of here.
They're not illiterate savages.
They're not barbarians, man. It's that's how I'm like, bro, that's not the arbiter. There's no way they're gonna make a clown like him like that. There's just no way.
He has to be. He's the single elite that has appeared in 2 episodes. He's the only member of the Covenant that has appeared in every episode so far, apart from Mercy. And Mercy doesn't count because he's the prophet.
He's the prophet, yeah.
And the girl technically also, but whatever.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, so maybe because he found the ring, and he's the one reporting it to them, maybe
he's gonna be.
They'll task him with, okay, we know the ring, we know where it is. Here's a fleet. Here you go take care of it. He fails, and then arbiter time, baby. Yeah,
exactly.
Okay.
And he's most likely gonna be escorting the girl, which is what's gonna happen. He's gonna fail when he loses the girl. He's gonna come back and they're gonna
break him.
You lost her. Break him. And there we go. That's all it's gonna happen. Dude. Watch.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
Obviously, the arbiter was a military genius, and he became the arbiter because of utter clownery with the first game. But this guy, he's gonna become the arbiter because he loses the girl. But then again, who the hell's know? They didn't play the game, so they probably don't even know who the arbiter is. So
they probably don't. I mean, they play enough. Okay, they play enough of it to know some of the major characters, because we got Admiral Hood. Admiral Hood was in this episode. If you remember Admiral Hood, he was the admiral in all white.
Yeah.
In the first 3 Halo games, I think he's mentioned in the later ones, but you never really see him. But we got Admiral Hood, and that's really about it in terms of new military characters. Again, the military side of things, where it's Halsey, Keyes, Hood, everyone's debating with each other.
I'm still waiting
boring,
for Johnson.
Man. Where is Johnson? And to be fair, we could maybe get Sergeant Johnson at some point, because again, I'm gonna rationalize his rank in the military, assuming he's still Sergeant Johnson. It wouldn't put him in a room with some of those elite military people, because these are people that lead fleets and discussing this stuff. Right. So there's still potential. We might see a Sergeant Johnson at some point in this season. But yeah, man, this stuff about Halsey and and the Cortana project. And apparently, I think the Cortana thing is supposed to be some type of human, like that's gonna be the AI. I'm just like, what are you guys doing?
I was confused about that because I was like, dude, are they thinking like the person, or are they copying their brain into like an AI, or is it gonna be like, you know, a virtual reality where they put on the mask and go to sleep and they wake up like Avatar and the AI Cortana body? That way it's technically an AI and they have, I guess, increased intelligence, but they can also be somewhat human, because they made it seem that she was a clone, potentially a clone of Halsey.
Right. The flash cloning. They asked
the flash cloning. So she might be a clone of Halsey. And again, she has all of the intelligence, if not more.
Right.
But the weakness is she has a real body. Which
I don't know.
It makes you wonder, is it gonna be like, you know, Avatar, where once he went into the Avatar's blue people body, his body, you could technically kill it and you still be alive? Or is it gonna be where if you hurt the real body, the AI is gonna start hurting also, you know?
Right.
And it's weird because from what I remember in the lore, you know more than me about that, Cortana was not the first AI.
Right, no, she wasn't. There were other AIs before Cortana.
Exactly. In this lore, Cortana is the first.
Right. Yeah, it does look like that. She's the first artificial intelligence. And they hinted that, you know, the ultimate goal of this project is so that the AI can be put inside like a Spartan and it can take over them.
Yeah, like eliminate any like indecision that they make.
And I'm like, okay, that's new. That's a new element. I don't know if I'm a fan of it, but I'm not totally against it yet. I don't know. We'll see. The human part is weird. I'm like, dude, why can't you guys just make an AI? Just make an AI and be done with it. You don't have to make all this complex stuff about flash cloning with the human, and you're doing more work for your own show.
Don't even explain what it is that they're doing.
That's not needed.
Yeah, they don't even explain. They just throw in big with flash cloning, body, AI, and they expect you to make the connection. I'm like, dude, no, that doesn't make any sense. If that was in the game, those of us who played the game would have had background knowledge to understand what's going on. And there would have been articles saying, oh, by the way, for those of you who haven't played the game, here's what happened in the last episode, why this makes sense. But this doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. I mean, the military bits, whatever. Cortana, they just need to introduce Cortana already so that there's someone interesting to, you know, attach yourself to. Because right now, Chief without his helmet on bores me. All the characters beside Chief bore the hell out of me. I mean, yeah, man. Other than that, what Chief turns himself in after what is it? Oh yeah, he learns about what the ring is and the stuff about the artifact that he has, and he's like, I better go back to Halsey.
Honestly, this is a part that would have never happened in the game. The guy showed too much emotion. He was like an angry brat trying to run back home. Saying, oh my God, I have to go back home. I'm in trouble.
Yeah, it seemed like a baby almost.
Yes. And he, the
guy even called him that, like, oh, you're going to run back to mommy? Like,
yes. And if this is something, again, for those of you who do not play the game, you don't have to play the game, but if you watch like a quick summary of the games on YouTube, the story at least, Chief would not act like this. Chief would be, again, more monotone with his voice, but at the same time, he would sit down and say, okay, this is what we have to do. It's not like he's an idiot. He would try to rationalize the situation and say, okay, the best situation is probably me going back there and giving myself up so I can report to Halsey what happened and maybe she can help. This guy instead just say, oh snap, I just did something bad. Let me run and go back to mommy, quote unquote, and report to her. And again,
gotta report.
Loki did the way they acted when he was in that prison cell. It gave me vibe from Homelander, from The Boys, with the lady that took care of him.
Oh, right. I mean, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Like where it seemed that Chief in that scenario was almost like an idiot, and he cannot think for himself, and he had to get the approval or be practically calmed down by Halsey. That's what that scene gave me.
Right.
Halsey saying, "Don't worry, it'll be okay, buddy. It'll be okay. Whatever you did, it will be fine." That's the feeling I get.
Right.
So,
No, I mean, and to be fair, like in the games, Chief in the main timeline, Chief has this affection towards Halsey. It's a misplaced affection. Like he views it as like a mother-son affection, but Halsey is terrible. She's a terrible person. And she kind of like piggybacks off of that a little bit. But yeah, like I don't know. In this one, it just seemed more pathetic of Chief instead of more urgent, like we need to go back to Halsey. I need to give her this. I need to give her this data. And so I don't know. Yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah, it was pathetic the way he was acting. I mean, yeah. And what else happened
but
this episode?
Aside from that, I mean, there was really nothing else. We got basically the alien girl. She's gonna be making a move to try and find out where the ring is. Probably being escorted by that elite. If we see that elite one more time, I will confirm it's the Arbiter, because they're putting way too much emphasis on this guy.
And again, they're gonna make it easy. They're gonna have him have the invisibility shield around him so he can follow the girl. That way, they don't have to spend that much money on CGI.
They make him invisible, of course.
Yes, so he's gonna be invisible, just following her around or watching from the back. And since she is leaving High Charity, there's no reason for you to CGI any of the Covenant soldiers. Boom. It's a money saver.
It's a W.
It's a W.
I mean, yeah, that's what's gonna happen.
I want a full-blown battle. That's what I want, because this is what Halo is known for. Halo is known for showing little small battle once in a while. I want to see an army or a battalion of humans fighting a battalion of the Covenant, because so far we're told there's a war. I haven't seen a war.
I've seen a battle. Exactly. Which was last week. I saw one battle. And again, and it may seem actually, was that the only battle in the?
Yes, that was it. My man, we're 2 hours in. We had 5 minutes of battle and close to 120 minutes.
Wow.
And a first-person shooter adaptation.
Yeah, no. Yeah, that's a problem, because like, okay, yeah, what they tried to do with Halo in the second episode, they want to make this sci-fi drama, like,
there we go.
And I'm like, dude, that's not what Halo is.
I want to see some people lose their goddamn heads. That's what I want to see.
I want Gears of War.
Dude, hey, they show a piece of that in the first episode, and we know based on the official mythos, that's what it would be if it was properly adapted and if the game was R-rated.
Right. No, for sure. It's, oh my God, I don't know, man. I wanted to remain optimistic going into this episode. Maybe, the people were that saw the episode ahead of us, they're like overreacting, or maybe they're looking for the wrong things. I would say they're on the money. I mean, it could obviously get better with episode 3 and onward, but damn, did this episode slow down. And
not to slow down, it came to a complete goddamn stop. We went in reverse. We went in reverse. We started rolling.
We made a U-turn.
Not a U-turn. We started rolling back down the mountain, screaming and pressing the brake, hoping to stop. So far, we're not stopping. And I hope the next episode does that. Because if we are getting Cortana next episode, I'm hoping the first episode start with them showing Chief in battle using Cortana.
Oh my God, what can save this? At least for me. And it's only if they do it right. Right now, Chief is with Halsey, right? Chief, Halsey is like getting ready at the end to like unleash the Cortana, I guess. I don't know.
Yes.
But next week, it's making it seem like Cortana is gonna come out and she's gonna meet Chief, because they're in the same vicinity of each other, and they're gonna get the interaction. And that's one of the things that saves Halo's like narrative when like you're in between like segments where it's other characters talking. It's that dialogue between Chief and Cortana. If they can nail that And if they focus on that instead and not worry about
Not
Quan
Quan,
or Solon, yeah, Cortana-chan.
Oh my god.
I want to say they can save it, but
No,
if they fumble the ball on the Cortana and Chief relationship, there's no saving this. At that point, you
100%.
could only look forward to the battles.
No,
That's the only time.
Literally 100%. And the only thing they could do if they don't really interact with each other, I'm assuming by the end of the season, they're gonna fast forward to the lore, and they're gonna show the Covenant after the Covenant loses in Midgard, quote unquote.
Midgard,
They're gonna show them attacking Reach with the Arbiter Covenant leading the troops. I could see that, and I could see the second season starting with Chief trying to save the real body of Cortana. Because technically in the game, she does get a real body, but that's not how she has a real body. So I'm assuming this is how they tried to mix up the plot for us.
Oh, like that's how that's how the AI has a body, is because there's an actual body somewhere.
Yeah, even though in the game she
my
built
God.
her own body. They just heard, oh, Cortana made her body. They probably read the wiki. Cortana made her body. Boys, we got this. Let's create a lady. There we go. I'm cutting it right now.
We'll have to wait and see, man. All in all, I think people last week were right on the money that saw the first 2 episodes.
Yeah.
This second episode would have soured everything that I saw in the first episode. I mean, we'll wait and see what happens, but it's not looking good.
Nah, dude. It's either we don't get to see Reach, we don't get to see the fall of Reach, or we don't get to see the ring. I'm cutting it both. They're not gonna show us the ring until either the
You think they're not
season.
gonna show us the ring in season 1?
I feel like they're either gonna show us arriving to the ring, or they're not gonna show us the fall of Reach. And the fall of Reach has to come before the ring is discovered. It was discovered.
It doesn't have to happen.
But
even though you're right, it's a significant part of the main timeline that Reach falls. So I feel like they're gonna fumble the bag with Reach.
No, they do, because they introduced 2 things too really fast. The ring is introduced too really fast. The ring should have showed up in the second season, maybe after Reach's fall. Because again, based on if the body is Cortana's body, that's gonna copy what happened in Halo Reach, where the group of Spartans had to save Cortana and deliver her to Master Chief. And again, if that Covenant elite soldier is supposed to be the Arbiter, he has to conquer Reach before he loses the ring, which turns him into the Arbiter.
Right.
Because the only reason he turns to the Arbiter is because he fumbled the bag, even though he was their greatest military soldier.
Right. Right now, he's not giving military. Right now, he's not giving like fleet commander vibes. He just seems like a grunt. Yeah, that's what he seems like. He wasn't leading a squad of elites from what we could see. He's just kind of like there.
Actually, it was possible that he was leading them and he sent them out to go kill the human that had discovered them, while he stayed behind as the leader to investigate the relic.
I mean, it's possible. My problem with him being the Arbiter is that this man has barely spoken, and the Arbiter is
did the finger thing. Yeah,
and you know what? No, this cannot be the Arbiter, because the Arbiter, I swear, and I think I even told you this before, the Arbiter's dialogue is so articulate and Shakespearean. Yep. I'm like, bro, those are honey to my ears, man. Yep. Keep talking. And this guy, if he's the Arbiter, he's going with the ring. I'm like, bro, this cannot. If this, you know what? I'll be even more pissed if this is the Arbiter. I'll be even more pissed if this is the Arbiter, because if it is the Arbiter, then that means they butchered my boy. They butchered him.
Watch until they give him a white uniform instead of a black one. Just wait.
That's what
they're gonna do. Or they're gonna give him a red uniform and say, "Oh, he's not a royal guard. He's red because he carries the blood of the Covenant soldier he lost." There we go.
That's kind of cool. I mean,
Oh my
or
God.
maybe no. He carries the blood of all the soldiers that lives that he sent into battle, so he carries that weight with him. Their blood is
obviously
on
the armor has to be heavy, because heavy
Yes.
is whatever the word is of the sentence. Is heavy is the responsibility of the fucking warrior or something. I don't know.
Oh no,
Whatever.
I
You know what quote I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like,
I'm thinking of the one about crowns. Like heavy is the crown of it's something to do with monarchs.
yeah.
I can't
This
remember
guy
it.
ain't no monarch. He can barely
Yeah.
talk.
He can barely speak.
Illiterate.
He can't even speak the alien language he's native to. So
Yeah.
whatever, man. We'll wait and see how the next episode goes. But I would say that wraps up our thoughts here at
You
the
didn't get any
Yonkō Table.
preview for episode 3?
If there was, I didn't see
Okay.
it. I let it
Never
play
mind.
out at the end to see if end credit scene.
Oh no, I thought you read like an article. Since you read
Oh,
one
no,
from
no.
last week. No.
Yeah, no. I don't know any. I don't have any insight into what the third episode is. We'll have to wait and see. But
Okay.
second episode, big L.
Yeah.
I appreciate the effort in trying to world build this new timeline of Halo, but it just wasn't for me.
I don't appreciate clownery, so no. Screw their world building. Yeah, the world building is garbage.
I want shooty.
I want shooty. I want to see head pops off. This is what I'm here for. I'm not here
Fair
to
enough.
see drama. This is not some random drama, high school drama. This is
Don't you
war.
want to see UNSC admirals bickering with each other?
Obviously. Like, obviously cloning is bad, even though we're losing the war. We cannot be immoral. Of all things, no.
All things.
It's not like we kidnap children and force them to be super soldiers for us.
To be fair,
But
that was
cloning-
Halsey. That was Halsey.
My
thing
dude,
that did
with
that.
the support of the goddamn UNSC. But
No.
cloning is-
They did not support that. They
allowed
it. They allowed it. They
My dude.
turned. They closed their eyes
My
and
dude,
they
he
looked
closed
the
their
other
eyes.
way.
Exactly, because if you're walking down the street and you see some poor bastard getting his ass whooped, and you laugh and you say, "Oh, look at this," and you start filming, you're supporting this. You might say, "I didn't beat anybody up," but my man, you had your cameras out and you were laughing. You're supporting it.
Oh
This
my
is what
God.
happened.
This is what happened.
But yeah,
That's all what we have to say here at the Yonkō Table for Halo, the Halo TV series, episode 2. Let us know what you all think. Did you guys like this episode, or is it just us? I don't know. Like I think you guys heard enough of us. We just are not fans of the second episode. Hopefully the third one and the subsequent episodes after that pick up the pace and we get more shooty bang bang, because I'm telling you, like, what made the first episode so good was the aesthetics that we saw with how the characters looked like, but then the action. And even though the CGI was kind of off in some areas here and there, the action was pretty dope. It was nice. You got to see the inside of the helmet. You got the health bar. You got the sound effects. It was all cool. It was all cool. But this episode, none of that drama, UNSC bickering, flashbacks to childhood. This is not Halo. This is not
for
Halo.
the Needler. We're waiting for the Needler.
I'm waiting for the Needler. We got plasma rifles. I think there was a plasma pistol, or maybe they were the same thing. I have no idea. But like you said, there's multiple Covenant, weapons. Plasma grenade.
The sticky one.
The sticky one.
Dude,
I'm
can't
waiting for
wait
that
to see
scene
this.
where it latches on the chest and they're like,
Oh my God. Yeah.
wait, because that's another thing too. It's like, imagine if they threw a plasma on one of the characters in the first episode that's never encountered the Covenant. It would have stuck on them, and they would be like, "I can't get it out. What is this? I don't
Honestly,
understand."
It would have been better if they threw it on him and he ran into that little room where a bunch of people were hiding.
Oh,
There
my
we go.
God.
And that's how the door blew up.
That's how it blew up. They're like, "Oh yeah, this is just a leech. I don't know what this." Boom, done. But let us know what you all think of the episode. If you liked what we had to say, leave a like wherever you're listening to us. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. at the Yonkō Table. Give us a like, give us a shout out, and yeah, can't wait to see you guys and let us know your thoughts. But with that, everyone, I'm your Yonkō host, Dr. Jace Attorney, and fellow Supernova Toasty, signing off, guys. Take care.